Okay. Ma'am, am I audible to all of you? Shabnam, ma'am, am I audible to you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can.
Okay, so we are going to start the session probably in another 5 minutes. I mean, another 3 minutes. It's already 3:27. So we'll start the session exactly at 3:30. I hope I'm audible to all of you. Can you hear me, Shabnam ma'am? Is there any disturbance? No, right?
No, I can hear you. I can hear.
Okay, fine. So we'll start it exactly at 3:30. Another 3 more minutes to go.
Okay.
So I request all the participants before we start. I request all the participants to please mute yourself and you can turn off your videos as well. Hello. I request all the participants again, please turn off your videos and please mute yourself so that we can avoid any disturbances during the session. So a very good afternoon to one and all who are Okay. Good afternoon, Shabnam ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, so good afternoon to one and all whoever is present online for this session, for the webinar on relevance or significance of soft skills and career success. Today we have our speaker, Shabnam Babu, to talk on the topic relevance or significance of soft skills and career success. On behalf of Aditya Bangalore Institute of Pharmacy Education and Research, we welcome you for the webinar session, ma'am. And next, we welcome all the participants online who joined us. So it's my privilege to introduce our speaker for today, Ms. Shabnam Babu. She's finished her B.Pharm in National College of Pharmacy, Calicut. She finished her Masters of Pharmaceutical Marketing and Management from Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences under Alamin College of Pharmacy, Bangalore. And she finished her Masters of Health and Human Services Management, Deakin University and Melbourne. And she worked in various firms. She worked in Medica Healthcare as a business development manager. She also worked in Deakin Downtown Collins Street, Melbourne, Australia, under the name of, she worked in a project called Big Idea 2017. She also worked as administrative officer at Metria Hospitals. She also worked in as a clinical coordinator in Lisa Skin Clinic. And presently, she owns her business in Calicut University. With this introduction, I would like to invite Shabnam Babu to take over the session.
Thank you, Bharati, for that wonderful introduction. So let's just get our session started. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's just start with it.
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, fine. Can we start?
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shabnam. I think Bharati has given a wonderful introduction about me, so I'll just talk a bit about myself. I did my master's, I did my bachelor's in pharmacy, and then I did my master's in pharmaceutical marketing and management from Bangalore. Bharati was my close friend in Bangalore when we were doing our post-graduation, and then I worked for 6 to 8 months in Bangalore as business manager with a health promotion company. And then I moved on to Melbourne, Australia for pursuing my Masters of Health and Human Services Management from Deakin University. So I think the topic itself is very clear. We are going to talk about soft skills for career success. So am I audible to everyone?
Yes.
Okay. So what do you guys know about soft skills and hard skills? Can anyone just say something about it? Anyone? Bharati, can you hear me?
I think that your voice is echoing. I mean, can you hear any echoing of the voice? No,
No,
right?
I can't actually. I can't, but I can hear it from your side.
Okay, fine. I think now is that okay? Because yes. Now is that okay?
Yes, yes. I think there is some technical glitch. I don't
Okay.
know from which side.
So there is no echoing, right?
Right now there is no echoing, but earlier there was.
Okay, just give me a second. I'll just correct it.
Ah, okay, sure.
Shabnam,
Yeah,
is that okay?
yeah.
Okay. I hope there is no echoing.
No, no. Right now it's clear.
It's clear, is it?
Yeah,
Okay. So fine. We're sorry for the inconvenience which is being caused to you. So
yeah,
Shabnam, with your permission, I'll just take 2 more minutes because
yeah.
I hope there is a lot of disturbance. So I
Hmm.
just want to give your introduction once again. I think with
No
your
problem.
permission.
Yes, yes. Go on.
Okay, fine. Today's speaker, yes, so she is very young, energetic, and dynamic personality. Her, she's one of my best friends. She and me were classmates in our post graduation. So it is pleasure to have her over here. So Shabnam she did her masters in health management in Australia, Deakin University, Melbourne, and she did her bachelor's of pharmacy from National College of Pharmacy, Calicut University, master's of pharmaceutical marketing and management, where I met her and we became friends in Alamein College of Pharmacy, Bangalore. And also she went to pursue masters of health and human service management from Deakin University, Melbourne. So she worked under health economics, healthcare operations, business process management. So all these were her specializations there. And as soon as she finished, I mean, she finished her post graduation in Bangalore. Then she joined Medica Healthcare Bangalore as a business development manager. And she also worked in Magna Health Solutions. And then she worked in Big Idea 2017 in Deakin Downtown Collins Street when she was pursuing her master's in healthcare and management. She also worked as an administrative officer in Matria Maternity and Childcare Hospital. She was again an administrative officer in Lisa Clinic, and now she currently owns her business, which is very successful. I hope, and I wish you all the very best for your future projects. And it is my pleasure to have you over here. And I know you're going to rock the session. With this great introduction, I feel very proud and I welcome you to take over the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bharati. That was so sweet of you to actually give a wonderful introduction of myself. Okay. Am I audible to everyone? I can see 100 participants. I'm not very sure how many of you can actually
Papa,
hear me. Is there any difficulty?
So I request all participants, please mute yourself.
Kindly mute your video, please.
Yes, so all can mute your videos as well so that we can avoid the disturbances and we can finish our session within very less time. So I hope you all are waiting for this session and you wanted to make down the point. So I request all of you to please mute your microphones and also turn off your videos. Thank you so much.
you, Bharati. So let's just get our session started. So I'm going to talk about soft skills for career success. So I'm not going to take much of your time. I know that it's quite boring to listen to long lectures like for an hour or more than an hour. I mean, it is difficult to concentrate, like, for a session like this. So I'm not going to take much of your time. So I would prefer you guys discussing your point of view about soft skills for career success, whether it is important for career or not. So let's just get it started. So does any of you have ever heard about hard skills and soft skills before? Any response, please? Any of you have ever heard about soft skills or hard skills? Am
So
I audible to everyone?
yes, you're audible. They all turned off your mic. So I think you can continue the session. I probably because it's
Okay, no problem. Okay, fine. So, hard skills are those, it is mostly taught in schools during personality development workshops or certification programs or from previous work environment. So, I'm gonna move on to the first slide. So this is something which, when I was actually doing a research on this topic, I came across this quote, which actually makes a lot of sense in the current scenario as itself. In today's competitive environment, it is not enough to be the best in your field, as in like intellectually. Competency is only half of what you need to climb the ladder of success. So we were taught in school that to be competent enough to, to be on the first place or the second place or the third place, we were told that you need to work hard, you need to do this, you need to learn English, you need to learn mathematics. No, nowadays it is not just not that skill that we require nowadays, because you know what the world is going through right now. So the other half is a softer side of you. It is that part of you that will be liked, admired, trusted, and remembered. Nobody is gonna, even if you ask your teachers from school, they would actually remember the backbencher more than the student who actually scored the first rank or second rank or whatever. Because something about that backbencher should be good enough for her to remember. It's not just the marks that is actually making a difference in everyone's life. I hope you guys agree with me. Yes? Okay, I can see a thumbs up here. Okay, so let's just talk about the soft skills and the hard skills. So what do you know about hard skills? You might have heard, okay, now I'm sure most of you be doing like your M Farm or B Farm. I don't know what sort of students are here. So I think most of you guys are actually planning to look for a job immediately after your course, or maybe some of you might be already working in a company or working with the college, or you're planning to move to a different country. Wherever you go, these skills makes a lot of sense, and these skills are something that is these skills will actually help you to get marked in front of an employer. So this is particularly important for all of us to practice on all these things, like on hard skills and on soft skills. So hard skills are something like, as you can see, you can actually measure them. Those skills are actually quantifiable skills. You've been taught that from the school or from work, or you've been giving training sessions by various people. Now, next thing is this, when you write a resume, you actually can actually, there is this column that which I've been so used to, which is called skill set. But people never actually talk about those skill set in specific, like what the skill set actually means to an employer. Why are they particular about it? Uh, okay, is there any doubt? Okay, fine. So most of these things has been taught to you from the schools. Okay, so you know this. You actually attend all these sessions on personality development and all that. But most of us will be like, okay, what is there to do with this personality development? Come on, like how is it even important? I have a good character. You have a good character. Everyone has a good character. have a good character. How does it even matter? But yes, it matters. So proficiency in foreign language, computer programming, typing speed, all these are actually accounted under hard skills. But the problem with these hard skills are like, so imagine like there are people still studying in the college. There are the technology is still evolving. What we have right now was not there 10 years back. So actually the technology is evolving minute by minute, second by second. It is just happening now and then. So the problem with hard skills alone is this, that it can actually become defunctional over a period of time. So there's no point of knowing a hard skill as such. So what is actually remaining about it? It's your character. So this is something which I wanted to mention because I myself was not a very brilliant student or anything from the beginning. I actually could understand what my perception about the whole life and career was when I actually did my M.Pharm. Till then, I was just a person, like I did my pharmacy, I was good at what I was doing. But only after I realized that this is something my true calling is. So most of you guys might be wondering, okay, she did so many masters and she did work with a lot of people, but I also had my ups and downs in that same kind of scenario. So what I would like to say is there is nothing with a backbencher and getting a good mark or anything. It's all about your character here. So we are going to talk about those characters today, and soft skills actually is based on those perceptions that people have about us. So when you sit in front of an employer, he just doesn't look at your marks and say, "Oh, she's so good. She scored so much so much for human resources. She scored so much for pharmaceutical marketing. She scored so much for pharmaceutics." That is just one part of it. If you are looking for a technical aspect, or if that kind of thing fits your job description. But there is this thing called soft skill. Those skills cannot be seen. It can only be felt. Like those skills are like intangible skills, I should say. And hard skills are tangible skills. So these skills are actually attributed to personality traits. It's a combination of personality traits, the behavior, and all these. This is actually based on the emotion. And it is, like when you go for an interview, like Bharati itself, she has got a lot of calls from different firms. I remember when I was doing my M.Pharm, I remember she getting interview calls from different firms, and I remember she cracking one of them. So there it is based on your situational behavioral interview questions. Like you will be given a scenario, hypothetical scenario, and you are asked to judge based on your conscience, like how are you going to act according to it. So does it matter whether you have scored 100, 98 or 100 on mathematics or not? Like, doesn't matter that time, because it all matters as a person, what are you going to do about the situation? In day-to-day life, your marks just doesn't count always. Sometimes you really need to have those soft skills handy so that it actually works like miracles for you. So am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Do you have any doubts so far?
No.
Is it boring?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So what do you know about soft skills? Like, can anyone tell me what soft skills is? Like, what did you understand by the term soft skills? Any one of you, just one of you can just tell me what it is. Anyone?
Soft skill?
Yeah. Is it Sonam that whom I'm speaking to?
Yes, ma'am. Is like a soft skill is a very simple type of soft as a like writing, communications is talking about is a soft skill type.
Okay, so I think you have got a bit of an idea of what it can be. It is actually a combination of personality traits. It actually defines you as a person. So whatever definition what I've written there, like the personality traits, the behaviors, and the attitude, the social attitudes. So I'm stressing on the word social attitude is because it actually defines the way you interact with the other person. Or you might have heard this word interpersonal skills is exactly same like soft skills. So how interpersonal, so remember this word interpersonal. So how you're going to interact with the other person is what is counted. So to communicate effectively, to collaborate and successfully manage conflict. I'm sure all of you will have some sort of experience where you had a conflict with your colleague, with your friend, with your relative, let it be anyone. You had your share of conflicts in life. So I'm sure like you might have had bitter experiences about it, and you might also have resolved those conflicts in daily life. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So what is this thing like? Why do you think that soft skills are important in the current scenario? Why do you think when I'm saying this is important in the current scenario, why do you think that this is important right now? Anyone?
For convincing.
Sorry.
For convincing.
Okay, that's good. That's great. That is just one aspect of it. Another one, can you tell me why? Can you give me another point? Why is it important?
To prevent miscommunication.
Excellent. That is also a good point. Thank you. Am I talking to Slavika, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, nice. Okay, so it's actually a prerequisite to navigate difficult working environments, because you'll be dealing with different sort of people. You will not be sitting with the same kind of people every year, right? You'll be actually dealing with international clients. You'll be dealing with different sort of clients in a day-to-day life. So can you actually be yourself in front of everyone, even though people say that you have to be yourself, but is it actually true that you have to be yourself all the time? No, because there are actually certain weaknesses that all of us have. There are certain part of our emotions that we can actually not control. Let it be anger, let it be frustration. Sometimes we get frustrated very quickly that a client can actually feel it, that we are not actually taking in the right sense. So you might have heard a lot of people, your friends, by talking about, listen, I had a problem with this person. I actually had a very bad day because this one client, she was just eating my head. You might have heard all these comments from all your friends. I'm sure that it happens in day-to-day life. So actually your real self at times doesn't help, because these skills, these soft skills have to be practiced. And I think most of us, like even in the college, people actually don't stress so much on these skills, and now it has actually caused a lot of problem, because most of us doesn't even know how to even tackle a situation. We can't use our textbooks and all those theories and the principles and what we have learned from articles and textbooks and from philosophers. All these things at times may not help. You need to work on yourself. That is the first thing I would like to tell all of you. Even if you are on a 30s or 40s, even if you're on a 16 or 20s or whatever, work on yourself, work on your character, work on the way you interpret yourself in front of others. That actually matters a lot when you actually apply for a job, when you go to a workplace, because you're going to face, like, you're going to see different kind of people. This is nothing what you are saying right now. You are going to see a lot kind of people. And like, I've been to another country and I know how it is, because now this racism thing is going on. So I've also been a victim of it, so I know how it is. But it's a perception. Like, at times it's a perception that we have about our other people. Sometimes it's just the way we actually put ourselves in front of them. So work on yourself as much as you can, because these soft skills are very important. And I should say it is very crucial to have such a skill in your day-to-day life. Am I right in your objection? Anyone?
No, madam.
Okay, thank you. So, so the soft skills are actually those those connectors, I should say. They actually enable, or they actually enhances productivity and also improves performance at workplace. Okay. So why soft skills are important? So have any of you heard about ATS? Does any of you know about ATS? Anyone? Capital ATS. ATS. Does any of you know about ATS? So ATS is what you call the applicant tracking system. So trust me, when you're sending your resume, you might be expecting, I'm sure many of you should be knowing about it, but you may not be knowing the name of it. So it is called applicant tracking system. So when you send your resume, it's not like there is a group of people sitting together, all the human resource people sitting together and, going through all your resumes, filtering everything. No, come on, like in a big company, that's not even possible. So they have their own filtering technique, and that is called applicant tracking system. So in these systems, if you look at a job description, they might have listed a lot of requirements that they need that actually is required from a candidate side. And they actually want the candidate to be that good. Why? Why is this soft skills so stressed in those job descriptions is a question. Because when you send the resume, now listen to this point specifically, you cannot just send whatever resume you have drafted for years. Okay, when you're applying for a job, you really have to tailor your resume according to the job description. You cannot just go with the same job description all the time. And soft skills, stress on the soft skill. If any of those companies have mentioned that they need a person who can handle the conflict, who is actually very good at handling clients, who can actually talk to the clients. So if these points have been mentioned, make it possible, and make it confirm that you're actually adding it into your resume, that these skills are mentioned in your resume. Because when the applicant tracking system, when you actually send in your resume through their website, through their portal, these keywords are actually picked up. If the keywords are actually the ones which is actually guiding them to take the resume. So it is based on that your resume goes to the employer, and everything is getting rejected. And why the rejection? You really need to know. This is one of the reasons. So they actually are trying to skim the best slot from the whole thousands or 10,000 resumes that they get on a daily basis. And now you know that unemployment rate is hitting like anything. The economy is literally down, and all of us are actually facing a lot of trouble. So always make sure that when you are applying for a job, you should be the best candidate they have ever seen. So to make it happen, work on these points. Am I right? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, great. So that is what I was talking about. So in like when I was doing my master's in Melbourne, we were given all these formats, like how to write a resume and how to talk to people and what you should be wearing to an interview. All these things, those instructions will be strictly given from the university, because they are particular about the way you present yourself in front of. It's not just a mark. Like after scoring so much, if you just dress shabbily to an interview, you're not going to get qualified when you are working abroad. I'm quite sure about it because I've been there, so I know that. So graduate employability skills and soft skills are this is where I was talking about the applicant tracking system. So when you pass out from the college, this is something which people actually think, okay, I'll just make a resume. I have seen many resumes before. I actually have been on the interview board, and actually also have been on the other side. So I know how these resumes are. Sometimes it doesn't make any sense. Sometimes even I don't even feel like giving them a second chance, because sometimes it doesn't even make any sense of what they have written. So make sure that when you are applying for a job, you know that you want this job. So put your heart and soul into it. Work it accordingly. Ask a mentor, or take a help from a mentor, and curate your resume based on what information they give to you. Just don't drop your resume just as you please, so that oh, I'll just send it off. No, you don't get the job like that. Okay. So if you are good at your soft skills, that person is considered as a leader, as a negotiator, and a conflict mediator. I'm sure that conflict will happen in a company very often. Like there'll be gossips, there'll be backstabbing, there'll be all kind of drama in a corporate environment. And I'm sure people are quite used to it. So, but then the thing is, like, there are certain people who stand exceptionally out of all these things because they have these soft skills at a higher level. So try to work on it. I'm sure there'll be more workshops in your college based on soft skills. So good luck with that. So I have listed some soft skills when I was just going through the articles published by Forbes and Entrepreneur. There is a website, there is a Facebook page actually on business ideas and all that. So the page is called Entrepreneur. I'm sure many of you might be following that on social media. So the list of soft skills for career success. So I have listed some of them, that is verbal and non-verbal communication, time management and productivity, virtual collaboration, personal creativity, leadership and management skills, conflict resolution, emotional intelligence. I'm sure you might have heard about this term, also called emotional quotient. In the short form, we call it EQ. And also stress management. I think all of you should be knowing this. Stress management is something which has to be considered very serious in nowadays, because you know what kind of trauma people are facing and you know what is happening in and around the world. So stress management is something is very crucial. And I'm also requesting all the faculty who's attending to this. Bharati, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure that you also do a workshop on stress management, because I think it is very important for students and the faculty on that basis.
I hope you're going to be the speaker for that session too.
Okay, I'm already stressed now. I don't think I can do that. Okay, so I'll go for the next slide. So this is a communication skill. We have verbal and non-verbal communication skills. So what is this communication skill? The communication skill actually involves 5 components. So what do you guys know about communication skill? I know that I have not written much on the slides. Could you just tell me? I want your participation as well, because the session is going to be boring otherwise. I cannot just keep talking always. I need that participation from you. Any ideas on what you think about communication skills? I'm sure you should be having plenty of information about that. Anyone, please? Why communication skills are important in a corporate or in a real life? Anyone? I think everyone had a heavy lunch and most of you guys are sleeping. Any of you are there?
No, ma'am.
Yes, madam.
Okay, could you just tell me what communication?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yeah, please tell me why communication skills are important.
Communication is very important because of atmosphere, is marketing representation. So persons को जानना is very important.
Go on.
Madam, for express ourselves, the communication is very important factor.
Okay, good. Am I talking to Tiwari? Okay, fine. Yeah, so you might have, yeah, great, excellent. So you might have heard about both verbal and non-verbal communication, right? So you might have heard of verbal. Then what is non-verbal communication? I can see Sakshi.
Verbal communication means, madam, there is a word use. And
You speak to people, right? In verbal communication, you actually talk to a person. And what is non-verbal communication?
Is your body language.
Body language, ma'am.
Exactly. You're actually talking about the body language. So there is this verbal and non-verbal communication that actually creates a perception of yourself. Like when you talk to a person, when you actually talk to another person, you actually listen, like, you know, listen to them clearly, like what they're actually trying to tell you. And at times you actually act in front of that person. Yes, I'm listening to you. Like, I'm sure all of you have done that. I'm not going to believe you guys if you tell me, no, I'm 100% listener. It's okay if faculty is listening, but are you sure that all of you have always listened to everything what others are saying? Have you been an active listener? All of you? Anyone? Have you been an active listener all the time?
No, madam.
No, ma'am.
Okay, great. Thanks for the honesty. So these communication skills actually creates a perception of you on others. And why, as all of you have told me, this is like, it's actually about building relationship. How important it is for you to convince. I'm sure many of you will be interested to work for sales department. I've been there. I know how hard it is to convince a client to, to pitch that idea and to convince them, just go for this one. I'm sure you will like it. But to get them convinced, it all depends on the way you talk to them. If yourself are not confident about what you're selling, I'm sure the client is not even going to look at it. Even if you give a slightest hint of doubt about what you're selling, it's not going to be good for you. So are you agreeing with that or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
I need more than a yes. I want you to talk to me. Does anyone want to share an experience about where the communication skills went wrong?
When not proper replies getting.
When you text a girl? No, I'm talking about like what sort of reply, what is that response that you're not getting from people?
At improper communication condition.
Okay. So you think that it's your mistake or it's from the other side that was that person actually really aware of what you were sending that person?
If proper communication is not there, then what you want to say, maybe it is not going to effectively affect any person or this.
Okay, great. Am I talking to Sarita? Sarita.
Yes.
Excellent, Sarita. What you said the right thing. Thank you. So can you just start? I think your video is on. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about communication skills. Like I would like to actually connect. I'll just show you a video. So why communication skills are important? You might have heard people saying, listen, I'm so sorry about it. It was just a miscommunication. Now, what is this miscommunication? Let's just see what it is.
Shabnam, the video is not visible. Shabnam, can you hear me? The video is not visible. We're not able to see the video. Yes, I think it is open in the other window. So.
Okay, fine, wait. One second. Can you see that now? Can you see that now?
No.
No?
Yes. No.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
I think there is something
You have
wrong
to go
with
for
it.
new share.
So you can start with
Shabnam,
the
ma'am,
other option. You can
you
just
have to go for new share. New share. You new share.
yes.
Yeah, I'm clicking on that as well,
Yeah.
but can you see that now?
No.
Yes.
Not
No?
Yes. Absolutely. We can see the video.
Yes, ma'am.
Shabnam, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Is there any audio which is linked to the video? Because we could see only the video. We're not able to hear the audio if audio is there.
Actually not able to. You're not able to listen to the audio, right?
Yes,
That's what you're
exactly.
saying.
Yes.
Nothing. I think there's something wrong with the way I. Okay, wait. Tell me if you can hear it now.
For decades, researchers have asked what
We
happens
can hear you now. We can hear the audio.
interpretation, called the transmission model, views communication as a message that moves directly from one person to another, similar to someone tossing a ball and walking away. But in reality, this simplistic model doesn't account for communication's complexity. Enter the transactional model, which acknowledges the many added challenges of communicating. With this model, it's more accurate to think of communication between people as a game of catch. As we communicate our message, we receive feedback from the other party. Through the transaction, we create meaning together. But from this exchange, further complications arise. It's not like the Star Trek universe, where some characters can Vulcan mind meld, fully sharing thoughts and feelings. As humans, we can't help but send and receive messages through our own subjective lenses. When communicating, one person expresses her interpretation of a message, and the person she's communicating with hears his own interpretation of that message. Our perceptual filters continually shift meanings and interpretations. Remember that game of catch? Imagine it with a lump of clay. As each person touches it, they shape it to fit their own unique perceptions based on any number of variables, like knowledge or past experience, age, race, gender, ethnicity, religion, or family background. Simultaneously, every person interprets the message they receive based on their relationship with the other person and their unique understanding of the semantics and connotations of the exact words being used. They could also be distracted by other stimuli, such as traffic or a growling stomach. Even emotion might cloud their understanding. And by adding more people into a conversation, each with their own subjectivities, the complexity of communication grows exponentially. So as the lump of clay goes back and forth from one person to another, reworked, reshaped, and always changing, it's no wonder our messages sometimes turn into a mush of miscommunication. But luckily, there are some simple practices that can help us all navigate our daily interactions for better communication. 1. Recognize that passive nonverbal feedback.
Okay, so I was just talking about the miscommunication. Was it really clear what that video was trying to tell you? Yes, no?
Yes, ma'am.
So you
Yes,
you
yes.
actually, you know this game where people used to tell there'll be people of there'll be 100 people inside the room, and you'll be asked to pass a message from the first person to the 100th person. So how that message has been transferred, right? Whatever you heard from whatever you actually told the first person is not what you're gonna what you're gonna hear from the 100th person. Why that happens? Why does that happen?
Language problem.
That is one thing. Another thing, language is just one barrier. What is the next one? Was there a clarity of what you've been conveying to that person? Maybe not. There's something called clarity and how concise that message is. That is also very important. Okay, it's just not the language. Anyways, thanks for the input. Let's just go to the next one. Sorry. Yeah. So if someone says that, I actually have seen many resumes where people write, where you actually write under skills, good communication skills. What do you actually mean by good communication skills? And actually, when you sit in front of the employer, you can even hardly utter a word about yourself. Why is that so? Are you sure you have that good communication skill that you have been writing on the resume? Because communication skill is mandatory no matter where you go. Even in India, if you look for a job, you know, like you need those communication skills. Even if you work for the sales department, you need that communication skill. So are you sure that you have the communication skill? Is that what you're thinking about? Or you think you have to work on it? What do you think about it? You think you have to work on it, or you think that you have good communication skill? Yes or no? If you give me inputs in a bit more, you know, like I feel that.
Yes, madam, we think work on it.
Yes. Okay, cool. Okay, so there is one more thing like called active listening. So how good are you at listening? Like how much patience do you have when you actually listen to people? Do you actually listen to people with much patience, or you actually are not interested about it? So the next video will actually talk about that. And there's something called adaptability. So I told you this one thing, like after completing your graduation, you're going to go to a new workplace. You might be looking for work, or you might be doing your master's, whatever it is. You are going to be uprooted from wherever you are to another place. And you will be having a cultural shock. That's how we term it. It's called cultural shock. So you will be having those problems. You'll be having panic attacks. You'll be anxious. How am I going to do this? How am I going to deal with this? So these things actually come across in our mind a lot of times, like how am I going to find a new friend? Like how I'm going to adjust to this workplace? Who's going to help me here? So all these things actually matters. There comes the skill called adaptability. And how is it going to be helpful for you? If you're a good communicator. If you cannot talk to a person who's next to you, you cannot expect that person to come and help you if he doesn't even know what you actually want. So adaptability is something where you are gonna, you know, adapt yourself into a working environment or into an environment where you've been placed right now. So it all depends upon the communication skill. Next, like someone was talking about, miscommunication. Someone was talking about the message was not clear. So that's where I was talking about clarity. Whatever you're trying to convey to that other person, if he's not clear about it, then whatever you've been trying to communicate, it was just a waste of time. It has not been conveyed in a right manner. The next thing is also about confidence. How confidence? I can see 100 participants in this whole thing, in this whole session. So how many of you have actually thought about giving a public speech, like at any point of time? Or maybe some of you have already given a public speech. Like, is there anyone among you who's working on that skill? Does any of you have any sort of stage fright? I'm sure Bharati doesn't have, because she's my friend. I know about her. I'm talking about other people. Okay, so I'm not getting any input from any of you, so I'll just move on with the next one. So next one is the constructive feedback. So it's easy for us to watch a movie and we were like, okay, the movie was not worth the money. It was not worth the watch. It was not worth my time. It is good to criticize, but at times when you criticize someone's work or when you criticize someone's effort, you may not be doing it the right way. You might be actually, deteriorating that person's confidence. He may not be that confident person and he might be doing it with whatever confidence he has. There is a way you actually give the feedback. So if you're going to tell this person is such a fool, he can't even do anything. Never ever talk to a person like that. You can actually ask this question to a person, what do you actually have in your mind when you're giving this? Or you can also ask this question, what are you trying to tell me through this particular presentation, or what are you trying to tell me through this particular project? That's a way of asking a question. You cannot just tell a person upright, no, you are wrong. This is not going to work. Is it going to help that person? Never, ever in his life. No. He'll always have this thing in my mind, or he'll always lose his confidence. Why am I saying all these things is because all these things also have happened to me and I know how it actually feels. So like at any point of time, if anyone tells you that, this is not good, this is whatever you've done is wrong, you just don't have to listen to all those criticism. Whatever comes in your way, whatever is good for you, take it. Other things, no, doesn't matter. You don't have to. Work on those things which you have, work on your strengths, work on your, count your weakness. I'm sure, is any of you have this unit called pharmaceutical business management or related to pharmaceutical business? I just wanted to know if you guys know about SWOT analysis.
Yes, ma'am.
So what do you know about SWOT analysis? What is SWOT analysis? I just want you to talk about it so that other people can also know about it. What is SWOT analysis? Am I talking to Ramya or Dr. Hadia, whoever it is? What is SWOT analysis?
SWOT analysis is defined as a strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats an organization is going to have or a company is going to have.
Okay, that's about the company. So what do you think? Will you ever do a SWOT analysis of yourself? Have you ever done that?
No, ma'am.
No. So this is where you have to work on. So she's been very honest that you should know. So basically, if you don't know your strength and if you don't know about your weakness, how are you going to work on these things? None of these soft skills ever matters if you don't know what you have and what you don't have. So this is a basic thing about this whole soft skill program. See, if you just open Google and type soft skill, I can see millions of courses and programs and articles and journals related to this whole term. Why did us people stress so much about the soft skill? So you can understand the impact of this in this whole world. It is important in professional and personal life. Hard skills are something which is actually sticking on your professional life, but not on your personal life. So please identify your strength, identify your weakness, work on it because it's going to be helpful for you throughout the life. You'll never regret it working on these things. Understand what is good for you and what is not. Okay?
Yes, madam.
Yes. So someone had actually mentioned about interpretation of body language. Body language is a very broad topic. I cannot actually talk about this in one session. So I'm just going to share a video with you. I know you're actually losing your patience. I'll just end the session pretty quick. Please just go through this video. Oh, sorry. Can you see the video?
Alice works at a local department store. She spends most of her day interacting with customers and coworkers. There's a lot of talking involved, but there's also another form of nonverbal communication that's being used just as often. Body language. Body language is the process of communicating through nonverbal signals. It includes things like our posture, facial expressions, gestures, and more. The meanings of these all vary from culture to culture, but we instinctively read body language and interpret it as some expression of moods, feelings, or intentions. So, in Alice's case, even before she speaks, she may be communicating all kinds of things to customers. For example, if her arms are crossed and she's avoiding eye contact, customers may not find her to be very approachable.
Did you guys see that? The way she's actually making the eye contact. So when you talk to a person, make this point, make this thing in your mind that whenever you talk to a person, just make sure that you're actually giving an eye contact. Just talk to the person by looking into their eyes. Just don't actually look here and there. And it actually gives this impression to the other person, okay, she's totally not interested. Even if the employer behaves like that, you don't have to do that. You just have to focus. It might be one of those tricks, like, just to know whether you are actually that person who has that proper body language. Body language is very important. And see the way she actually is standing next to the counter, she's folding her arms. You don't do that when you're actually doing a business, right?
Yes, madam, right.
Yeah, okay. Now see next one.
Approachable. However, Alice could be in a friendly mood, even though her body language suggests otherwise. And this isn't necessarily a conscious choice that she's made. This could just be how she habitually presents herself. But If Alice is aware of these habits, she can work on improving her body language. Changing your habits can be difficult, but if you take time to pause and check in with yourself, you can start to notice them and adjust things to become a better nonverbal communicator. This awareness can also be applied to reading others' body language. Let's say Alice notices that her coworker is unusually quiet, has his body turned away from her, and is slouched over. She may pick up that he's upset, or that there's an unspoken issue at hand. Depending on Alice's relationship with him, she may want to give him some space, or ask if anything's wrong. Being aware of the various aspects of body language can make all the difference in how people perceive you and how you perceive them. Be aware of how you present yourself, and you can say a lot without speaking.
What do you guys think about this? Is it true that this is important?
Yes, ma'am. Body language is very important, ma'am.
Like, did any of you have any bitter experiences where you walked into a store and the salesman gives this attitude, I don't even care, you can just pick up whatever you want? Have any of you ever experienced anything like that before?
No, ma'am, not at.
I'm sure that you'll be living in heaven then, because most of the time there are many people actually face such things. At times, if that salesperson is not in a good mood, he might not be actually serving you in the right way. Okay, so this is something that you have to work on. The body language is very important, and Bharati actually did mention about this thing also, that I really need to talk about the way you dress up to for an interview, like how you actually dress up yourself when you go for an interview. All those things also matters. Never dress shabbily to an interview and feel that I'm good enough to get that job. No, your first impression actually matters. The way you walk into the room. You might have seen there are some people, the moment they walk into the room, they can actually steal the limelight. There are people like that. And how do they do that? Because they have this confidence in the way they walk in. And trust me, many employers are keen about having such skills on some people. They want such people to be like in the sales department itself, because they have this ability. It's not just the accounting skills or your financial skills or whatever, all those things matter. Sometimes it's just the way you present yourself. Because obviously the employer doesn't know much about you when you walk in for the interview. Unless and until it is a reference thing. So virtual collaboration, I'm just gonna skip a bit of it. So virtual collaboration, I don't even have to talk about it. Everybody knows it's been heavily tagged on all the social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, work from home. So basically this whole communication, it's just another form of communication, which is called virtual collaboration. Virtual collaboration is a method of collaboration between team members. Like they might be in remote locations. They are just connecting on a platform using digital tools. Now, like how we are actually conducting this session, they're actually using an application where we're actually trying to connect. I'm connecting with 100 people. So I'm talking to 100 people on a digital platform. I'm connecting, I'm actually sharing my opinion, and you guys are sharing your opinion. So this is how the virtual collaboration works. It is actually very significant, and you know that you cannot go to your workplace and get your work done, and that is one of the reasons we have these online sessions. So many of the times, if you can actually mention these things on a resume, it will actually add more value to your resume. You should be adapt with all those engaging platforms like Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and all that. So it will be good if you can mention those things on the resume. And another thing, good thing about virtual collaboration is that you actually get to talk to different people from different culture. You actually could share your knowledge, your perceptions, and everything on a virtual platform, which is a good thing. And that's going to be a very good contributor to your career success. So next one is time management and productivity. Time management is something which I think most of us really don't work on. I think many of us are not actually so particular about being punctual. And I'm sure there'll be a few of us who are very particular about the fact that I should be at that place before 5 minutes before the expected time. So punctuality, this time management is the most difficult skill that is to be found among the candidates, because most of the candidates never report on time. Unless for the job, yes, they will, because that's something about their life. But if I ask you students to be on time to some kind of event, I'm sure at least there'll be 10 of you who will actually report late. I think your faculty can agree with me on that, right, Parati?
Many.
Okay. Okay, functionality and reliability. And next one is like organization. So why I'm saying this, time management is not just about reporting on time, it's also about submitting your projects and assignments or whatever tasks that's been assigned to you on before the deadline. And say, listen, like even I have been there, like even I used to do, see, when you actually study abroad, this is something that all of you actually should listen to. So the system in Australia, how it actually works is that you'll be given an assignment. Suppose if this is a month of June, so once you start with the course, they actually don't spoon feed us like, read this article, read this books. I mean, kudos to Indian teachers, like literally they teach us everything. But what happens to us in that process is that we actually are not knowing how to actually take care of it, like how to gather more information by ourselves. So abroad, what I've seen is like the people who actually study in universities, they already have much knowledge from the work that they're doing. Plus, they go to the library, they go through all the books, they do a lot of research. So to help with the research, to give them more time, if an assignment is given to you, like from today, they'll be giving you like 30 days, and every week the session will be recorded and uploaded on their university website. You can access it at any time. You just have to do a thorough research of whatever topic you are actually working on, and you have to write an assignment. Trust me, most of the time people actually don't make it on time, like the people like me who actually do it at the last minute, and don't expect to score well and think that miracles can happen overnight. No, there are people who have worked day and night for their assignment, and they actually deserve to be scored. So this is something which the time management is important. Why? Because most like what I've seen with my friends who have been in the university is that some of them are very proactive about writing an assignment on time, submitting a project. These things are actually valued by the employers over there. They actually look at the kind of, see, if you're at the office at 9 in the morning, they don't want you to work after 5. If your working time is 9 to 5, after 5, nobody wants you there. You can just go out of the office. So basically, when you're reporting, be on time. Finish your projects on time. When a deadline is given to you, you cannot keep asking for excuse. So this is something which I've seen that it doesn't actually work abroad. You really need to be on time with whatever you're doing. And I would request you guys to work on it. It doesn't matter how you actually enjoy your college life right now, but when you actually hit the real world, this is not how it actually works. You're going to be screwed if you don't actually really work on time management skills. Just be mindful about that. So productivity is one aspect. Why time management? If you are doing a good research of whatever topic you are actually working for an assignment, if you're working on a project, if you're doing a thorough research about it, if you're going to meet clients, convincing clients, and you have a deadline and you have a sales, you have a target or whatever it is, plan ahead and see how it is going to go. Always keep a plan B. If a plan A is there in your mind, make sure that you have a plan B. Even if you're making a small presentation for your class, imagine there's a power failure on that day, and even you don't have a backup. That all comes under time management. If you want to be productive, all this is an important aspect of it. Am I clear? Okay, this is something. Am I clear? Am I audible? Anyone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm just sharing some tips about it. This is something that you can see from the screen itself. It's just about prioritizing. You need to keep, if a deadline is on July 30th, okay, you need to give it, you have to set a time like July 26th. I'm going to work and submit it. Like, I'm going to work on a draft and be ready by 26. And you just have to go through that draft, finalize it and send it off. So if you're planning to study abroad or if you're planning to go for university, make sure your assignments are before deadline. Otherwise, you will be punished. And I know how it is. The things in universities abroad are not that easy. You might even have to pay the fine. And plagiarism is a big crime in Australia. You'll be prosecuted if you don't listen to it. Take breaks between tasks. Organize yourself. You should know, like, you're going to give time for yourself. You cannot just keep sitting and studying all the time. Give time for yourself. What I mean is, like, you'll be having hobbies. You'll be liking to do something. You are this person who actually prefers listening to songs. You're someone who actually loves to dance, and someone who would like to go for a ride or anything of that sort. So plan it that way so that you have time for everything. Remove non-essential tasks. Tasks that are not important for you, don't waste your time for that. And then always, as I said, plan ahead. Okay. Next one is leadership and management skill. A skilled leader is an efficient problem solver. He can solve anything. He knows how to lead the team. And you would have seen that in a classroom itself, we actually choose a leader based on what? Can anyone give me an input on that? Why would you choose a person among you as a leader? What makes that person with a leadership skill? What is that unique thing about that person? Why would you actually tell another person that this person is good enough? Anyone?
He should represent us in better way.
Yeah, he can actually represent you in a better way. He can actually convey your thoughts and your issues and your concerns, everything in a better way. He can actually support you. And that's why you actually choose one person as a leader. So wherever you go, like where you work, wherever you go, the college or workplace, you have a leader there. There's a team lead, the person who can actually, it's not that everybody has that skill. It's just that skill is something that you have to work on. You just need to empathize with others. You need to work on yourself. Along with that, you have to help and support and uplift those people who need help. You have to go and you just saw in that video whether body language, like she just wanted to know whether her friend is fine or not. It's just okay to go and ask a person, are you okay? Are you fine? Do you want to talk to me? It doesn't matter in what position you are. Always be considerate. Always be empathetic to people around you. And it actually matters a lot now these days. So what defines a leader? As I said, like he should be intelligent, he should have the humanitarian consideration, he should be trustworthy. You can actually go and tell him anything that you can actually address. He is that one person who can actually address your concerns. And he should be having that courage to handle it in a good manner. And he should be well-disciplined. Okay, I'm just brushing through the whole slides because I think we are running out of time. Next, there are two more things that I have to talk about. That is, one is conflict resolution. You know what conflict resolution? I was talking about it earlier. Like there'll be a lot of conflicts, and conflict resolution is one of the major skills that a person should always have. And he should know how to, like if there is a conflict between two different parties, let it be the client and your staff or someone, and you're someone who actually runs a business, and you know that if you don't act immediately, you will lose the client and you will also lose the staff. And you're also going to lose a reputation. And as a person who's a part of a business, I know what actually a review means. If you just give a bad review to a business, you know how it actually affects the person is something you can't even put in words. So always make sure that you actually understand what the two people are actually arguing about, whether you can actually help that person. So conflict resolution is very important. And please work on that skill as much as you can. Like even between your friends, you know how to actually solve the issues between your friends, how you can actually be that good person. So I'm not gonna play that video. Bharati, I'm not playing that video because I think we're running out of time.
Yes, no problem.
Okay. So this is the whole process where you are gonna assertiveness, like you're gonna ensure that, you know, everything is just gonna be fine. Don't worry, I'll take care of it. That is where you actually show that you're good enough to handle the situation. Mediation, you're going to be the mediator. As I said, you are the business owner, you have a client and you're a staff. Both of them are valuable to you. How are you going to act in between them? empathy. As I said, like, when someone is suffering, when someone is going through something really bad, you cannot just turn and just walk away. That is not something that a good leader will ever do. So that's where your leadership skills also should come out. And then interviewing and active listening. You should also know what that person is talking about. Why is he upset? Why is he frustrated? What is bothering him so much? Why is he behaving like this? You can ask these questions to them. Listen to them. Ask them, like, before arguing, before jumping to your own conclusion, listen to what they want to talk to you. Next is accountability. You know what accountability is? I did this. She did this because of me. Like, I told her to do that. You're actually taking responsibility for someone's action. That is a true leadership skill, and I've only seen it in very few people. Like, many of us actually want to blame it on other people, but there are very good souls that actually can be, who are actually courageous enough to actually be accountable of what other people are doing. That's actually a very good skill, and that is something that you have to use wisely also. Next is creative problem solving. That I'll talk about creativity in the next topic. And then next is about felicitation. Let's talk. You're going to tell them, like, we can't go like this. See, the whole benefit of this conflict resolution is that it's not going to cause any trouble in the future. If you solve it now, it's going to be for the good, even if it is about the compromise. So I do believe in that because I have experienced that, so I know that. So personal creativity is about developing new ideas, applying new solutions to address existing problems. Recognized as one of the top skills by Forbes magazine. Anyone can check that. You can just go and check the soft skills required, like by employers. So in 2020, this is one of the topmost skill that has been mostly wanted by employers is the personal creative. How creative you are, how innovative you are with your things. Not about finding something new or finding a vaccine or finding a medicine. It's not about just about that. How can you actually solve a problem? How creatively you can actually tackle a bad situation? What sort of information or what sort of ideas do you have actually that can help the organization and your team members? So for that, to enhance creativity, what do? You actually go for a brainstorming session, or you might be doing that with yourself. Like, you'll be just thinking, what can I do about it? You also might have heard about mind mapping, where you are given a topic and you really have to brainstorm, like, what all ideas can actually come along with it. And zone out. When I say zone out, please zone out now. You have to listen to me right now. Zone out as in, like, sometimes you need a break. All of us need a break at times. So we just need to take some time out for ourselves, work on ourselves. That's what I was stressing from the beginning of the session. You always should take care of yourself first, and then only comes the next person. That is very important. And the last one is the most important one, is the emotional intelligence, also called the emotional quotient. That is actually the ability to use or understand your own emotions, so that you can actually you actually know what your problems are. You know what is your emotion, and how you can actually how do you actually have a control of it. You don't actually just react. There are certain people who are very calm. Like, even if the worst things are happening around them, they are very calm. Like, we even ask this question, how is she so calm? Like, how can she be so poised? Like, how can she act like that? Like, it is not possible. I think she's having a psychotic break. Even people like us will even just judge like that. But trust me, there are certain people who can actually act wisely in certain situations. You really don't have to show all your emotions in every scenario. There are people who get angry very quickly. They'll just react. They'll show their frustration no matter where they are. They just don't think where they are at the moment, and then they'll just blurt it out. Whatever they feel like, they'll just blurt it out. Such things shouldn't be there when you're working in a proper environment or organization. So expression and observation of interpersonal skills at workplace. If you have a control of your emotions and your thought process, trust me, you can actually make better decisions, even in your working environment, even in your personal life, wherever it is. So there are 4 attributes to it: self-management, self-awareness, social awareness, relationship management. Please remember that these skills has to be mentioned in your resume, because it's very important. This is something that will be there in the job description as well, because emotional intelligence widely require, like, a prerequisite for many employers. So make sure that you include all these points on your resume. So most of you might be thinking like soft skills are something what I've heard from a lot of people. Many people have told me that you have leadership skill. You can actually talk in front of the people, in front of the public. You can actually give a proper presentation. No, it doesn't matter that you don't have to work on it. You have to work on it. There are certain, you have to hone your skills. That's something which is very important. So if possible, do an online course on soft skills. I would highly recommend doing an online course. Feedback from others, ask people. As I said, take a book and just write your strengths and write your weakness and understand what is good and what is not. Get a coach if you have a mentor. Bharati is a good mentor. I can totally say that because she's someone who has influenced me a lot. And also try to practice it with a friend. Talk to your friend. Talk to that person and ask, where you should actually improve. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm sure like you will be having at least one friend who wouldn't judge you for anything. So thank you. It was good to have all of you on board. And I had a very nice time. And thanks for answering all my questions and everything.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, I think it's high time for a coffee, and I can see most of you are you there with me or are you sleeping?
Shabnam, shall we take some questions if you don't mind?
No, I don't mind.
Participants, if you have any questions, you can post it in the chat box so I can convey the questions to her. Okay, so we have some questions which are going to come up. But anyway, so if anyone wants to ask any questions, you can ask.
No, ma'am, it's very clear.
Okay. So we have got a lot of comments, Shabnam, telling that the session was very informative and very nice. And I know I have given you a very, very broad topic. I'm sorry for that. And we couldn't cover it within 1 hour, but I think you have tried your best to cover it within 1 hour. But I'm very thankful to you for giving such a nice presentation and such a nice words about soft skills, because most of the people, we lack some soft skills in us. So soft skills which are very important in our day-to-day relationships as well. So I hope you have created a very good awareness among the people who participated in this webinar session. And thank you so much for your beautiful insights. We have got a lot of messages saying that the session was very nice and please conduct the sessions. I hope you're going to accept my invitation if I ask you for the next webinar.
I'm hoping that people are listening now. This is my first session on soft skills. I've never taken any session. Bharati is the one who actually gave me this confidence. You should talk about it. I was actually surprised when she called me. I should actually thank her for giving me an opportunity to talk in front of so many people. I've been working with people, but I've never gotten an opportunity. I know that it is not like a perfect session, but I'm sure that many of you could understand what I was trying to tell you. And thank you for being so patient, and thank you, Bharati. All thanks to you.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
Hello, Shabnam, ma'am. I have a.
Yes, I can hear you. What is it? Please unmute your video, unmute your audio.
Hello.
Yes, Vaishali, right? Yeah. Yeah. Please tell me.
Your session was very amazing and wonderful.
Thank you.
I want to ask you one question. So, emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is the difference between the EQ and the IQ, and how to develop the IQ in our kids?
See, nowadays, actually speaking, this intelligent quotient and emotional intelligence and all that, the major thing what people are actually focusing on right now, I'm talking about this whole year with everything what is going on. Okay. This is where, see, now you have, where you're actually, how you're going to actually act in a situation. Suppose you are in a scenario where there's a lot of stress, there's a stressful environment. and you don't know how you're going to react to it. At times, you might actually be angry, and you might even actually say that this is wrong, this is completely wrong. At times, it may be helpful. At times, it cannot be helpful at all. So this is something you have to work on yourself, because this is where the stress management comes out. So I cannot really say there is a I cannot actually tell you what is a major difference between these two, but the emotional intelligence is something which people have to work on, because this is something which you have to have a lot of control on. If you actually look at the situation or the work environment where you are, I don't know where you're working or not, but if you actually see that there is this one person who can actually be with anyone, who can attract any person, he can be a friend, he or she can be a friend of anyone, he or she can be with any department, in spite of the fact that he just belongs to one discipline. But then how is it even possible? Because his emotional quotient level is very high. It is not just about the knowledge that you have, it's also depends on the way you actually present yourself in front of the people. Am I clear?
Question. So someone is asking if anyone is planning to do MPharm in Australia. Can you just tell some tips on soft skills?
I get this question very often. If you're planning to do any course abroad, I only know about the Australian scenario. I'm just planning to move to another country if things go well. So if you're planning to move to Australia, I would highly recommend going through the skill. There is this thing called a government website where they'll actually talk about the skill set, what is required in that country. So suppose if you're a pharmacist, if you want to work as a pharmacist in Australia, obviously you should actually work on those exams, like which is approved by the Australian Pharmacy, APC, Australian Pharmacy Council. If you really want to work as a pharmacist, once you get the registration as a pharmacist, you can work in Australia. But I would suggest that's a very long process. If you can't qualify the exam, obviously you will lose the money and you have to write the exam from the beginning again. I would highly recommend doing a course in Australia so that you'll get a 2-year stay back visa. Whatever the course, make sure that you it doesn't matter. There are certain people who actually go to Australia, they want to do the course and they'll come back. There are certain people who actually prefer staying back in Melbourne. I came back 2 years back. So I came to India like 2 years back. So if you really want to work in Australia, I would suggest go through the skill set of Australian skill set that is mentioned in the Australian government's immigration site. Go through it. Don't trust any agents blindly. I would highly recommend doing your own research before even talking to an agent. They can be very cunning and they can actually even fool you with all those sweet words, but that's not how the case is. You definitely have to go through the site, and there are 3 divisions for it, which is called the long-term and the short-term skill set. It also varies with each state. In Canada, it's called province. In Australia, it is called state. So I was doing my course in Victoria State, which is Melbourne. So there, the point is Melbourne and even Sydney comes under New South Wales, which is also another state. So you need to go through this website where they might have given in where each skill set is important or not. So based on the requirement, they will hire you and you'll get the invite and you can apply for PR if you are lucky enough to get it. And as of now, the job, Melbourne and Sydney, they are metropolitan cities, not metropolitan, cosmopolitan cities. So they're kind of saturated. So you might have to focus on other cities like Tasmania, Adelaide. You can also try for Queensland Institute of Technology, QIT. Also the Northern Territory, where you have, these areas are actually very remote places in Australia, but PR is guaranteed in somehow. Any questions?
Okay. So yes, Shabnam, thank you very much for the wonderful session. Very, very informative. And I hope, there are a lot of messages on the chat box telling that please conduct webinar on, how to overcome the stage fear and all. I hope I will definitely plan for it. I will definitely organize some webinar on how to, manage to overcome the fear on the stage, and also to improve certain tips on the interview, how you should attend the interview and all. I hope I will definitely do that in future, probably by taking Shabnam. If not Shabnam, if she's too busy, probably after this webinar there will be so many people calling her on the soft skills. I'm really sure about it. But yes, being a faculty member of Aditya Bangalore Institute of Pharmacy Education and Research, I definitely look forward to conduct such webinars with a lot of efficient people like Shabnam. So I thank our chairman, Dr. B.A. Vishwanath, who has given an opportunity for me to get people like Shabnam and to give very informative webinars for all the people who are there online. And I thank our webinar convener, Mrs. Suchitra, a very young and energetic lady who accepted and who made all the arrangements for this webinar and making it very successful. And the last one is like my staff members, who has really played a very important role in supporting me for organizing this webinar and all. And last, to all the participants who are there, this webinar is very, very successful just because of you, who has
Thank you, madam.
completely involved throughout this session, and you really made this webinar a very successful. And definitely, yes, if you're really interested, I'm really gonna arrange such webinars on soft skills and communication skills. So with this, I thank all the participants. Thank you very much. Thank you, Shabnam.
Thank you very much,
Thank
madam.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye to all.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, Shabnam, shall I end the meeting?
Yes.
Yeah.